Hello, this is cjhoyle. Today's date is 02/21/2021, and I'm here at the Don Valley Golf Course in Toronto's North York district. On my feet here I'm wearing my cross-country skis, and in this video I'm going to be skiing around and doing an urban cross-country adventure through the Don Valley Golf Course. So that building up there at the top of the hill is where I was just standing a moment ago, and I've just come down that hill where those people are walking now, and I'm going to begin my ski run over in this direction here. Kind of make a turn here and head towards that bridge there. So the Don Valley Golf Course is a city-owned public golf course, and it operates as a golf course during the golfing season, but during the rest of the year people are allowed to come here and walk around and treat it kind of more like a park. And this is actually on the city's website for cross-country skiing and snowshoeing. This is one of the recommendations of places that you could come to. And it seems like lots of people have followed that advice, because I've seen lots of snowshoers and lots of cross-country skiers here ahead of me. So here we're just crossing over some water here. This is the West Don River. The Don River is a fairly major river that flows through sort of towards the east end of the city of Toronto. And right up here it's really more just of like a creek. But there's in addition to this West Don River, there's also an East Don River that merged together to feed that larger river, as well as many tributaries of other creeks that flow into the Don to make it the wide river that it is. Here you can see more of that Don River. I apologize if the camera is a little bit shaky. I'm filming this with a smartphone mounted to a chest strap mount, and although it does have pretty good image stabilization when you're doing an activity like cross-country skiing, your body does inevitably bob back and forth from side to side a fair bit. So I'm going to do my best in this video, as I do in all these videos, to try and keep my body as steady and stable as possible at the sacrifice of speed. This is really not about racing or anything. This is just about getting out and enjoying, experiencing this golf course park. So straight ahead you can see some big concrete columns and a bridge deck up above there. Those are the bridges for the Highway 401 that cuts through the middle of the top of Toronto. There's a total of, I believe, 4 bridges there. And the golf course exists on both sides of the 401, so in addition to this segment of the golf course where we are right now, which is south of the 401, it does continue to the north, so we will be going underneath of that bridge pretty shortly. So I'm going to make a right turn at this sort of roadway here, although because the bridge is overhead, that's been sheltering the ground down here from it snowing, so there's actually no snow underneath the bridge. So I'm going to take off my skis and walk across. In addition to lack of snow, there's also a lot of color to the snow, like a lot of sort of brownish color, gray color, and I think that's from road salt. And you may be thinking, well, why would they be salting this one little section of this pathway here? Well, no, I think the road salt is from the bridge overhead, which they're salting the road for it to be safe for vehicles driving across the 401. So yeah, virtually no snow under here, as you can see. So T number 2 is over this way to the left, so I guess I'll follow this way. I don't exactly know the exact layout of all the different holes for the golf course. I think it's probably fairly complex, with them sort of switching back and forth from different sides of the park. Alright, I think I'll put my skis on here. There seems to be enough snow for that. Alright, so continuing on. Yeah, I really prefer not to ski on snow that's shallow like that. I'm sure it's not good for the bottoms of my skis, so I want to protect as much as possible. Alright, so we've got a little bit of a downhill here. I was expecting this to be a fairly hilly place to come skiing, and so far it's met my expectations. I should mention this is my first time ever coming cross-country skiing here, and it's only my second time ever walking through this golf course. And the first time that I was here, I really only walked through a very small portion of it. The temperature this morning was around -8 degrees Celsius. The snow feels pretty hard and solid. Pretty slippery also. Part of the other difficulty with navigating through this golf course is that that river follows the entire length of it, which means that you can't just easily sort of go from one side to the other. You have to sort of be conscious of where the bridges are. Morning. That guy there was skating. Not with ice skates, with cross-country skis. Ski skating. Certainly lots of people out here today. This golf course is relatively easy to get to. It's located just a few blocks north of the York Mills subway station at York Mills and Yonge, or Wilson Avenue and Yonge. The street changes names at that point there. I'm going to try this trail that somebody has made up this way through this fresh snow. Because why not? You can see there's a pipe there saying that there's a gas line here, a natural gas pipeline that flows under here. These are pretty fresh tracks that someone's made up here. Definitely slower skiing through deep tracks like this than it was through the more compressed stuff where I was a moment ago. I think I'm going to go back to where I was, as much as I was enjoying that. So there's really no trail, it's just sort of a big open sort of field area here with a bunch of trees along the way, and you sort of choose your own adventure by skiing in the line that sort of suits what you're looking for. Good to see all this deep snow though. This winter we really have not had very much snow at all until about a week ago. That's when it started to come. And I shouldn't say we have a lot of snow, we really don't. And it's really just sort of came in one day, and a little bit's been added to it a couple of times since then. But I've really been trying to make the most of this snow that we have while we still have it, because once it's gone, who knows whether it'll come back, at least this year. I was looking at the weather forecast, and although it's been consistently staying below the freezing point, this week that's coming ahead of us, it's showing the temperatures are expected to go a little bit above freezing, like maybe 3 degrees Celsius, and a day like that would really destroy nice conditions like this. It would really melt a lot of it, and it would, if it got cold again after that, it would turn a lot of that snow into sort of an icy layer that would not be nearly as fun for skiing on. So I'm making the most of this today while I still can, because it's not just a prediction of the weather forecast, but so it's possible that it might not actually happen, but it's certainly a possibility, and definitely want to not miss my chance here to enjoy this as much as possible. I'm going to try skiing up this hill here. Again, I've never been to this part of the golf course before myself, so I really don't know exactly where I'm going. I have, kind of a sense of the shape of this park here. But I don't know any of the local secrets about it. For me personally, I prefer kind of switching around, trying different places when I go skiing. I really like the variety of it, and I like the fact that we have, lots of choices of places to ski to choose from. So far I've skied at Cedarvale Park in the Nordheimer Ravine, High Park, and the Beltline Trail, plus a bit of the Yellow Creek Ravine, or the Vale of Avoca. And many of those places that I've described there, I've covered on a video much like this, urban cross-country skiing. Here's a bit of a downhill. Not much of a downhill, but a bit of a downhill. Now we are, as we're skiing kind of mostly in the north direction here, we should slightly be going uphill. Because we're following along that river that, as it gets further away from Lake Ontario where it's flowing to, it will gradually go uphill, because the water has to be able to flow downhill. So that could mean that by the time that I turn around to go back towards the start, that we'll have more downhills than uphills. So I haven't really felt a whole lot of downhills so far. I guess it's really just been a lot of bumps. Go and take a look at that tree over there. Looks pretty interesting. It's got all kinds of funny deformities on it. There's another one over to the left of it that looks related, but not quite as bad. Got my skis crossed there a little bit. Let's get back on the compacted part of the trail. So over there towards the left, there's a pond, which I think is a stormwater management pond, which will collect all the water from the storm sewers in the neighborhood, and when there's a rainfall it will, you know, get really full, and they do that so that it keeps the water from, you know, going in and flooding out the banks of the river. They gradually let it go in there. So there's that stormwater management pond. You can see there's somebody out on the ice. I'm not going to do that. There is a sign here that says ice unsafe, keep off. Over there on the other side of the stormwater management pond though, there is a trail, and that's actually another park over there on the other side, which is called Earl Bales Park. And I've actually ridden my bike through Earl Bales Park quite a few times, and I've even made a video showing my bike ride through there. It was one of the ways, one of the sort of secondary routes that I would take on occasion when I was coming home from work. When I used to, you know, I used to work in the Yonge and Shepherd neighborhood and live in the Yonge and Eglinton neighborhood, I would occasionally take this trail. It would come through this park that would be more scenic than the roadways that I took that were much more direct, that I would take on a regular basis. So I understand that it's possible that you could ski, you know, over there into that park over there and kind of extend the area that you're skiing here with that, but I'm not going to be doing that today, at least not in this video. I figure I'll keep this one limited to just the golf course. The other interesting thing about Earl Bales Park is it is actually a downhill ski hill, and it's operated by the city of Toronto, just like this golf course is. So they actually operate, you know, a downhill ski park where you've got, you know, chair lifts and tow ropes and things. So it's, you know, it's a pretty small ski hill, but I guess it's probably good for beginners. All right, so I'm gonna, rather than continuing this way over to the park, I'm gonna make a right turn here and I'll head back, continuing to follow the golf course. There we go. Should take me back to where I came from. Very sunny today. I'm gonna go this way because it looks like it'll be a little bit more interesting. Assuming there's a way through here. Looks like actually a dead end loop, so maybe I won't go that way. Got to cross that bridge over there. Yeah, really sunny today. When you're in the sun, it feels quite warm, but when I was in the shade there, I was feeling pretty cold there for a second. You can see some sort of ice crystals that have formed over there in those trees and in the little things growing down by the water's edge. Over on the left there, and some on the right too. You can see straight ahead that there's quite a steep hill. Guess I'll continue this way. The Don Valley is quite a deep ravine. That's where those giant bridges are needed to take Highway 401 across. Here's a well-worn set of cross-country ski tracks. Guess we're heading straight into the sun, so hopefully it's not too blinding for the video viewers. I brought my sunglasses with me today, but I'm not wearing them at the moment. Figure that might be kind of annoying having to take them on and off between, you know, sections that are in the shade and sections that are in the sun. Another very well-worn path here. I think I'll take this little trail over here. So yeah, this golf course, like I said, it's accessible by the TTC, by the subway. And that's how I got here today. Although I noticed that the parking lot was very full, so I bet a lot of the other people who were here came by car. It's not really close to a very highly populated area, so I would suspect very few people would have walked here. My plan this morning was to get here at 8 a.m. and start my ski at 8 because it's always nice to take advantage of the early morning when things are quiet and still and bright enough to make a video. But on my walk to the subway station, I started to realize that, wait a minute, it's a Sunday, and I know that Sundays the subway doesn't start as early, so I looked it up and I read that, oh, the subway doesn't start moving until about 8 a.m. So I went, oh, well, I guess I'm not gonna be able to get here by 8. So that delayed me a little bit, so I don't think I was actually, on the golf course here with my skis until probably around 9 o'clock or so. But that's okay. I really wish I had an easy way of bringing my skis with me on my bike, because it would be nice to just be able to ride my bike to the places that I want to ski, at least on a day like today when the roads are clear, but there's still snow on the trails and stuff. Maybe earlier in the week, back on like Tuesday when we actually had all the snow, I don't think I really would have wanted to ride my bike, any long distances to get to a trail, because it would have been slow going and slippery, and the subway's I think a better option for a lot of the places, considering most of the places that I want to come skiing are actually, right on the subway lines. Although I really have been avoiding taking public transit for the most part since the pandemic started. Taken the subway more in the last week than I probably have in the entire year before, just coming out to come ski. Of course, I should explain the reason I'm out here is to get my exercise, which is one of the essential reasons you're allowed to leave home. And of course, exercise is very important, and especially when we've got, beautiful parks like this to come and experience with snow on them. It's a great option for getting your exercise. All right. I was pretty sure that trail was going to end up with being a U-turn, but still figured I would go that way anyways, just to get a little bit more scenery, get a little bit more distance in. So now we're going to cross back over to the other side of the Don River here, over on my left. I can imagine that for the video viewer, the sense of direction is not as easy to follow, you know, to really know which direction we're going at any point, because I'm really kind of curving and turning all the time. Thankfully, I have a pretty good idea of where I'm going. Just sort of directionally, just sort of knowing that, you know, when you cross the river, you must be sort of heading, you know, either in the north or south direction. Right now, we're pretty much heading due east. And of course, I can see the bridges over to my right, the big 401 bridges that we'll have to go back underneath of again. Once we get back over to the other side of the 401, there is more of the golf course over on that side that I haven't seen yet. The entrance to the golf course is kind of a little bit north of where the southern end of the actual golf course is. So I think the idea is that you start, you know, and hole number 1 is kind of over near there. Let's look at those. Look at these ice crystals that have formed on this tree here. Isn't that neat? I don't know what those are called. I'm sure other people do. Leave it below in the comment section if you're familiar with that icicle phenomena on tree branches like that. I'm noticing those icicles are kind of, they seem to be mostly concentrated next to where the creek is, or the river is. So I'm sure I would imagine it's related to that, from the, you know, the extra moisture from the creek. I think I'll just ski on the part here. Maybe I'll follow the tracks that other guy was following over on the other side. I will have to take my skis off pretty soon to get back over the other side. But yeah, like I was mentioning, I think the golf course is laid out that hole number 1 is kind of the area that I was skiing through at the very beginning. And then hole number 2, you saw there was the sign over on this side of the bridge. Once we got north of the 401, that was, you know, the directions to hole number 2. So then I think the holes kind of go all the way up through that way. And then eventually they turn around and we start coming back in this direction. And then the remainder of the holes are over on the south side of the 401 here. So everything on the south side, I think, is a number that's up close to 18, you know, kind of counting down from the top, with the exception of hole number 1. As I was walking across the other way, I could see that there actually seems to be a pathway that comes through here a little bit further up the hill towards my right, and it looked like it had a little bit more snow on it, so that perhaps would have been a better choice of ways of getting across. But actually, maybe we'll walk up this way and we can check it out and see. So we have to walk across this section anyways. I think if we turn left just at the top of this hill here, well, not the top of the hill, I mean the top of the hill is way up there, but the flat portion of this hill right here, yeah, it looks like there's a little bit more snow here, but I'm still not going to put my skis on because I fear that as soon as I do, there'll be a section that's not deep enough. Can't really see it because of the glare from the sun. It actually looks like this part of the trail is paved with asphalt, as opposed to gravel, which I think is probably better if you're going to ski on snow that's a little bit thin. It's probably better to go over asphalt than it is to go over gravel, because there's no rocks pointing through. But yeah, I'm not going to do it still. still not enough snow to do it properly. Yeah, there's a sign for tee number 9. I think I'll just put my skis on up here and I'll ski and kind of follow the sort of the northern or the western boundary here of the golf course. All right, so I'm just going to climb this hill right here. It's quite steep. There we go, up the top, and it's a very short-lived top of the hill. I'll do the same again here. Just kind of wanted to get around those people. It's always good to give people as much distance as possible when you're coming through a park like this and living through a pandemic. Now this should be interesting. I actually kind of want to go that way, straight in that direction. So I guess I'll ski kind of across the hill like this. There we go. That was a pretty steep hill, but that would be fun to ski straight down the hill as opposed to diagonally across it. I bet lots of kids come here with their sleds and toboggans to come and experience these nice downhills. Although I imagine it's a fair bit of a walk from the parking lot to get out here with your toboggan. Yeah, we're following this outer perimeter of the golf course here, seeing where it takes us to. Hopefully not getting stuck on the wrong side of the river at any point. You can see there's a little bit of a trail up there, which presumably leads up to those houses up at the top of that hill. I wonder how many of these mounds of dirt and hills are man-made as golf course features versus ones that were just sort of naturally like that. I don't actually know the history of this golf course. I don't know how long it's been operating. I imagine it must be fairly old. Alright, coming around the corner here. Got a bit of a downhill that I can enjoy, so I'll do that now. Woo! There's somebody calling out, but I don't think they were calling to me. I think they were calling to somebody else. I think I've probably seen just as many snowshoers today as I have cross-country skiers. Certainly lots of people out enjoying this nice weather. Lots of pedestrians too, walking their dogs and whatnot. a bit of a hill, sort of a tobogganing hill up towards our right. It would probably be fun to come down, but it's not really on the way to where I'm trying to get to, so I will just go past it. My goal here is really just to do a sort of a loop around the whole golf course and come back to the beginning where I started. If you want to see the exact route that I took, I do use the Strava app on my phone to log the trips that I take. So it will show you every little turn and pathway that I took, even, you know, statistics about what my speed was at any given point and, you know, what my average pace was. I put those online because I figure that people are, you know, interested in, I've received comments before from people, you know, interested in retracing a route that I've taken, or just simply interested in sort of finding it on an online map. In addition to these cross-country skiing videos that I do, or have been doing for the last, in the recent history, I make lots of videos about bike riding. A lot of my YouTube channel centers around bicycles, so I do a lot of narrated cycling videos, which would be very similar to what you're watching right now, but instead of cross-country skis, I would be riding around on a bike, but giving a commentary as I'm doing it. Yeah, I'm definitely impressed by the size of this golf course. Alright, I can see these tracks lead to a hill that is steep enough that you can see the herringbone ski marks on the side of the hill left by one of the cross-country skiers who came here before me, so I guess I'll climb up that and potentially I'll have a bit of a downhill on the other side. We shall see. When it's really steep, you have to angle your skis sort of outwards in an outward sort of a triangle shape to get up. Otherwise, you'll slide back down. And yeah, no hill to come down over here. I really do feel like I've had way more uphills and downhills. Seems like back there I was just skiing through a bit of a puddle that formed and then froze. Oh, just hit a branch with my face, but not injured by it, thankfully. Alright, so we're getting very close now to the farthest southern point of this golf course. You can see there's a valley or a steep hill straight ahead, and over towards the left you can see a concrete bridge. That road there is Wilson Avenue, which, as I was mentioning earlier in the video, Wilson Avenue is the name of York Mills Road when you go to the west of Yonge Street. Yeah, it really is quite the place. I'm glad that it's accessible to people throughout the year when the golf season is not happening. I can understand why they don't want people coming and walking their dogs and wandering around here when people are playing golf at the same time, but it is kind of unfortunate that all this huge amount of land is restricted to just one single activity. In recent years, there have been discussions and conversations at City Council about converting some of these golf courses that the city owns. I mean, in addition to this one, I think there's about 3 or 4 others in other areas of the city. And there's been some discussion about potentially converting them, some of them back into just regular parks. And I think some of the reasons for that are that golf seems to be a sport that's in decline. There's fewer and fewer people doing it, and the city golf courses, which occupy a huge amount of land, apparently they're not profitable, which shouldn't necessarily be a requirement for a city service to be operating, but I think at one time they probably were profitable. So this little pathway over here on the right goes to a service yard for the golf course, and beyond there, there's a driveway out onto Yonge Street. And I think if you're coming from the York Mills subway station, that's probably the preferable entrance to come into the park here. I didn't come that way today. I decided I would just come through the main entrance to get here. But it seemed like those people that I was passing there, it seemed like they were planning on exiting that way. So potentially you can get out there. We're now following alongside of that Don River West again. West Don River, it's over on my right. So I'll need to get back over to the other side to finish off where I started off. The main trail over there to the left, you can definitely see that it's been well used. It's very, well packed down. I'm thinking that the city must have plowed that route there. Cleared the snow off of it at some point, but then another point it's, been recovered with snow again. Morning. This is a busy place. I think this is definitely the most cross-country skiers that I've seen so far here in Toronto this morning. The second most would be at High Park when I went skiing back early on Thursday morning before work. I saw lots there too. And I was surprised by it because, this was a time in the early morning when you would have had to get up pretty early to get out there, and a lot of people, like myself included, would have had to go to work, shortly after. Although a lot of the demographic that I see on cross-country skis, at least here in the city, tend to be people who look like they're the age where they might be retired. So potentially hours of work are not a factor for them. But it's great having a weekend like this where we've got snow and I'm able to get out on my skis at any time of the day. I've discovered that when making these videos that the image stabilization on my camera really does not do a good job when it's not very bright outside. Being able to simply manage the low lighting in addition to stabilizing the image, it seems to be more than really my smartphone can handle. So it really is best if I can come out, during full daylight like this. This video is being filmed with a Galaxy S10 smartphone, which I have mounted to a GoPro style chest mount with a special adapter that I made for it. I do have an actual action camera, which is meant for these sorts of things, but after doing lots of extensive testing leading up to my first time cross-country skiing, I concluded that the image stabilization on that is really not very good. It's really not suitable for this sort of activity. And my smartphone actually has better image stabilization. So we're getting really close back to the start again. There's a bridge up here on the right that I'm going to cross, and that will be my last time crossing the Don River in this video. So I'll make a right turn here and we'll get back across. Yeah, so I would say that this is definitely somewhere that I would recommend coming with your cross-country skis if the snow conditions are suitable for it. Relatively easy to get to by public transit, and certainly lots of land. There really is no trail to follow, so you kind of have to make up your own or just try and follow sort of segments that have been left behind by other people, but that definitely gives you the opportunity for lots of variety. So right here is where I started the video, and I'm actually going to ski up this hill here, which is what I did before I actually started filming. This big rock here in the middle that I'm just crossing on my right, that's right at the bottom of this hill, which makes skiing down this hill pretty scary, especially when there's pedestrians and other people wandering around at the bottom of the hill. So I figured it was better to start the video at the bottom of the hill instead of starting the video off by potentially crashing into something. Over on the right, this thing that you can see is a tow rope. I don't think it's for... It would be great if I could just hold on to it and use that to tow me up this hill like you would at a ski resort, but I think the tow rope is somehow used for golf. Although the signs say no power cart, so you wouldn't use it for towing a golf cart up to the top of the hill, but I'm not exactly sure how it works, how a golf course uses a tow rope like that. You certainly see things that are quite similar to that at downhill ski resorts on the bunny hill, the small hill, and a little bit more here to climb, and then we'll be right back up at that building where we started. Dog's in a hurry to go somewhere. All right, and here we are back at the parking lot. Well, anyway, I hope you enjoyed joining me on that 5.5 kilometer loop of the Don Valley Golf Course. If you watched all the way to the end of this video, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. And thanks for watching.